Welcome back to episode 9 of Sidelined with Jonny and Noah. I am Noah.
And I'm Jonny.
This is our part 1 episode, and of course,
We're in a new studio for this episode due to a time constraint in our personal schedules, so hope that's okay for this week.
Yep.
In this episode, we're going to be talking about topics around the league, injuries, a couple trades, and players who answered the call. So stay tuned.
Yep, the weekly recap. Let's go.
Now entering topics around the league. What do we have?
Well, this week was the trade deadline, so you know a bunch of stuff is going to be going on.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, of course, we saw C.J. Henderson going to the Panthers, Stephon Gilmore to the Panthers, Dan Arnold to the Jaguars. These are all a bunch of trades that happen throughout the year.
Yep.
But the big ones usually come around the deadline, and the biggest one that we can talk about is
Big.
Von Miller, a career Denver Bronco. I did not expect him to be
Yeah,
dealt.
no, neither did
I know that there was always
That was
rumors,
really crazy.
but he went to the Rams.
Yeah,
This is an amazing deal for both teams. I feel like
I
Von
feel like
Miller,
it worked out for both teams.
Yeah, an aging pass rusher,
but
They
still
get-
a premier pass rusher.
Oh yeah, still
So
top,
no discredit to him.
still top, probably 15 in the league.
Oh
at
yeah,
least.
I would say.
I mean, when healthy, of course. But he got in return they got the 3rd and 2nd round pick from I believe this
Yeah.
year.
Yep.
So that's good value for a guy like that. And of
Yeah,
course,
no.
you know, all respect to him, all respect to the organization. They still love each other. There's no bad
Yeah,
blood.
no, not
Just
at all.
how it works. And now the Rams have
Yeah.
really
Dominant
even
pass
scarier
rush.
defense.
I know, and it was great to begin with. Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, and
Yeah.
now Von Miller. After they
Yeah.
trade away Kenny Young, they get another player back.
Exactly. And of course, we're going to
Next
touch upon the Jets traded their backup tight
Backup
end,
yeah.
Dan Brown, for Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, an amazing guard.
Good pickup.
Decent
I like
pickup for
that.
the Jets. Chiefs are probably doing that for cap reasons.
Mhm.
For the reason why they picked up Melvin Ingram in a trade with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
They desperately need some type of pass rush, something on defense. Honestly,
Yeah,
they've been
Kansas
struggling
City really needed that.
all year. So, you know,
They were the lowest pass rushing grade in the entire NFL, which is saying
that's
something.
crazy. Yeah,
Because they still have Frank Clark, who's a really good player.
Yeah,
So.
he's good, and same thing with Chris Jones and
Yeah, I know.
all them. But you know that stuff happens. So they desperately needed some type
Oh,
of
yeah.
light. And Melvin Ingram is a pretty decent player. He probably
Oh,
just
yeah,
didn't like
he's
the
still
amount of
solid.
playing time he got on the Steelers.
Yeah.
And those are the biggest trades that we got.
Yeah.
But of course, there's players that did not get traded
Yeah.
that we can talk about. For example, Brandon Cooks.
Brandon Cooks, Odell.
Odell actually, we speaking of which, we were just talking about this.
Yeah.
He just agreed to basically a buyout scenario.
Essentially, yeah.
Where he's going to be released and he's going to be given most of his money guaranteed, and then he's going to be able
He's
to
gonna
hit waivers where people can claim him, or
Mhm.
eventually he can choose his own team
Yeah.
where he can be signed. And then finally, Fletcher Cox.
There was a lot of rumors about him being traded, but
which
it
is
ended
crazy.
up
He's
not
another
being
Von
traded.
Miller type guy,
Yeah.
where it's like, oh, I think he's going to
Yeah.
retire that,
Yeah,
at that
exactly.
organization. But turns out he didn't get traded.
Which is good.
I didn't even really think too much about him getting traded.
Yeah,
but
no, neither did
he
I. But
announced it.
apparently there was a ton of rumors about him being traded.
Yeah.
So good for him.
Yeah, no. So moving on now, we
Yeah.
have a bunch of pickups now.
Yeah, a bunch of pickups and releases. AP is back.
Yeah.
Adrian Peterson, 37-year-old.
All day.
He is back in the NFL after playing last year with Detroit, splitting reps with Swift. He is now a Tennessee Titan.
Yeah,
Pretty
nice.
crazy news. Gonna be on the active roster this weekend. Hopefully get some touches as he slowly gets acclimated to their system. Another player being moved, Deshaun Jackson, mutually agreeing to a release. I don't think he liked his play time there, so I think he's definitely he still has some left in the tank. I think he's gonna sign up with the team within the next couple weeks and try and join a team who's in the playoff hunt.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, him and OBJ, they both agreed to basically a buyout for their contract.
Exactly.
And then moving on, we have the probably one of the bigger things that happened this week,
Yeah, I
other than the
know.
trade deadline, is
This
Aaron
was pretty
Rodgers
huge.
testing positive for COVID. And of
Mhm.
course, there's a lot more to that story. There's a lot of criticism going on with him because
Yeah.
he doesn't fall under the vaccinated category.
Mhm.
And of course, people are pulling up the videos of him not saying he's
Yeah,
immunized.
I know.
But the thing is, you can see his point of view on the Pat McAfee show.
Yep.
If you look that up, you can see the interview with him. It's very recent. He talks about how he was allergic to the mRNA ingredients in the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccine.
Yeah.
So he was left with Johnson & Johnson, and at that point, it was being pulled for blood clots.
Yeah,
so
obviously you don't want to get that.
He needed to be immunized in any way he could, so he found other treatment, and he was doing whatever was best for himself. This is all basically, you can almost quote me on all this. He said he was doing what was best for his body.
Yeah.
He encourages everyone else to do so.
Exactly.
He's not against the vaccine. He's not a COVID hater. He's not a COVID believer.
He said he's not an anti-vax either.
He's a COVID believer, obviously, but he's not like an anti-vaxxer. He's not going to speak for the anti-vaxxable people, the vaccinated people, but he does say that you need to seek whatever you can do to help yourself, help your body. Obviously, the vaccine is a pretty big topic around the league and around politics and everything, so we have to talk about it. We have to touch upon it. He just says, whatever is best for your body, you should go ahead and do and protect it. To protect anybody, to protect yourself and everything. And he said he did all the things that people working in the NFL had to do if they were not under the vaccinated category. And he followed them all to the T, other than one thing. He said he didn't like the fact that he had to wear a face mask sitting on the podium, surrounded by reporters who were vaccinated and wearing masks. Obviously that is something that a lot of people could also agree with. And that's the only one that he said he did not follow. He followed every other protocol, and now that he tested positive, he's under fire. But he explained himself pretty well on the Pat McAfee show.
Yeah, no, that was definitely something that's worth watching. I know it's long, but it's definitely worth the watch.
It was definitely. I mean, he does long interviews with them every Tuesday, but this one, he went on for a good 20 minutes. I was able to watch all of it actually, and 20 minutes he just went on a rant by himself. And
made some really good points about
made
this
really
whole
good
COVID
points.
situation.
The whole COVID situation, I mean, he's not against the vaccine. He's not he's not pro or anti or anything. He's whatever he does best for his body. Obviously, everyone has their right to opinion. Everyone has one. So, I don't believe he should be under as much fire that he is.
I don't think so either.
Due to his explanation. Obviously, people not getting vaccinated and then putting other people at risk is rough in the league because people are careless.
How fast everybody can go out,
especially in the NFL. I mean, especially in the NFL. But it seems like he followed all the rules pretty properly, and he has an explanation for it. It's not like he just
literally makes sense. So
we hope he's doing all right, and we hope to see him back as soon as possible. And hopefully he, I guess, can do further explaining. I'm not sure what else he can do.
We'll see what else happens. But in other news, we have another Henry Ruggs being charged with the DUI resulting in death. Really unfortunate situation, traveling at over 150 miles an hour in his Corvette.
And on contact with the other car, it was 127, they said.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Insane.
Ended up resulting in a death of the driver of the other car, a 23-year-old woman,
and
as
a
long
dog.
as the dog in the car. And
So sad.
Ruggs, they released a video of him this morning, as of Saturday, of him driving in the street, and you see other cars going by and then his car going by, and it was so fast. It was unbelievable.
He also had a loaded weapon in the vehicle.
Yeah, and also a loaded pistol in the car, which was really stupid. I
Yeah.
mean, you hear that Derek Carr was like vouching for him and saying how good of a person he is, but it's just a really terrible situation.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna drink, the NFL supplies players with ride share apps so they can come pick you up, so this situation is avoided. But obviously he made the wrong decision, resulting in this terrible situation.
It's terrible. It's something that you don't usually see. It seems like a lot of the younger players in every league tend to be more reckless, but it's just a really horrific thing.
Something to definitely learn from.
That you wish didn't happen. Yeah, a lot of players do get DUIs, but it doesn't end up being this severe.
Yeah,
it's really unfortunate to see that. And hopefully everyone involved is just. I hope it gets better for everyone involved, obviously. And actually, just recently it came out today that he was added. There was 2 felony charges added to it.
I know.
And so it seems like he might have to do some time if he doesn't. I mean, he also has to pay a lot of money. Yeah, he has to pay a lot of money, but it's a big one. Something that
I know.
You're always disappointed to hear, and it's really sad. But prayers out to anybody involved in that situation. It's obviously a difficult one for each side. I mean, we always have to look at both sides, obviously. I mean, I know he made a mistake, but it's a big mistake. I was definitely initially very shocked and disappointed in it, but
I know.
I mean, prayers out to anybody. But moving on to a little bit more sad news. Nothing
Yeah.
too sad. It's just injuries.
Yep.
Hopefully nothing really bad. Other than obviously the first few, I'm
Couple
going to be
season-ending injuries.
yeah. I'll be
happened
talking
last
about
week, which
I'll be
was
talking about
crazy.
season-ending injuries. Jonny will follow up with more positive ones,
Yeah.
possibly.
Not many though. Let's be
yeah.
honest.
Well, to start off, Michael Thomas, he hasn't played a snap in the league
Nope.
this year, and he won't for the rest of the year. He had a setback in his ankle injury. He's be placed on season-ending IR.
Really unfortunate
along with
because they needed they needed him to come back. So
they needed him after
they have no
Jameis.
receivers.
And speaking of the Saints, Jameis Winston, season-ending ACL injury, put on the IR.
And damage
as
to the
well as-
MCL as well.
Yeah, as well as Danielle Hunter, season-ending IR for a torn pec, I believe.
Yeah.
And then Derrick Henry, a huge one, potential season-ending foot surgery.
Really scary situation. with him.
He's out 6 to 10 weeks, they said, so he
Yeah.
could be out for the season. Could be
I
back by playoffs, or
That's
could be back by week 15, according
I know.
to fantasy football.
yeah, that's really good for fantasy owners. Plugging for fantasy's sake, episode 8.
Yep.
That's really huge news.
Yeah.
He's on Jake's team in our fantasy league, so we'll see what happens. We'll
Let's make the
monitor that, and
recovery.
we'll keep you guys posted on that situation.
Yeah.
Any other season-ending injuries?
Nothing season-ending. Do you have anything? What about that guy coming back in Houston?
Yeah, Houston, we have Tyrod Taylor coming off the IR, has 21 days to be added back to the active lineup. Hopefully he comes back. That would really help Houston maybe get another win. They could really use it.
Carolina's also getting someone back too.
Yeah, Carolina. Who do you have?
CMC.
Yeah,
He's back.
Christian McCaffrey, my fantasy running back in a different league. But it's really huge for fantasy owners and
Definitely.
the team as well. That's really going to help the offense. And Sam Darnold, who's dealing with a concussion.
So he's out.
He was questionable. Now he's out for this week. But going forward, that should really help their offense. DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, the tight end, Tommy Tremble, really going to help that offense. So that's really good news for them.
Definitely. And then we have a couple of questionable people.
Yeah.
James Robinson and DeAndre Hopkins are both apparently now doubtful to play. I just saw an update. I had James Robinson on my team at one point. Obviously, that's fantasy. For fantasy's sake, another shameless plug. But James Robinson might not play this week, as well as DeAndre Hopkins. It seems like he's leaning towards not playing for the first time in his career. I believe
Yeah,
he's
that's
not
crazy.
starting a game.
I mean, it's only been 1 year, but a year and a half. But still, that's pretty
No,
impressive.
for his first time in his career, though, apparently.
Yeah.
Or
It's like, oh wow, that's actually
I don't
pretty
know.
crazy.
I read
If
something
that
about that.
fact is true, that's pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive. I'm not sure if it's true, but for at least Arizona, this is the first time he will miss a game, starting at least.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
But I mean, there's a couple of other guys that just are questionable, like AJ Brown, all these people. But
Taysom Hill coming back from
Taysom
that
Hill.
concussion.
Saquon Barkley won't play.
Yeah, that's really annoying.
that was
on
like-
the COVID list, and then the ankle injury. They're gonna
Yeah.
wait for him to come back after the bye.
And speaking of another guy coming off the COVID list, Devontae Adams, without his star quarterback,
That is
but
huge.
he's back from the COVID list.
Him and
that's
Jordan
a big
Love.
boost. Let's see what Jordan Love can do
Yeah.
with Devontae. I mean,
Pretty impressive.
who knows?
I think he's gonna have a really good game.
yeah. So now we are going to be jumping into our answering the call for this week. A little bit of positive in this
Yeah,
episode.
we need some positives. Players who answered the call, players who really performed, answer the critics' calls, and have some positive game.
All right, so who you got first?
My first one is the Chiefs' defense. You know, they locked up the Giants. They didn't let up a ton of points. Obviously, I mean, part of it might have been on the Giants because the Giants'
Injuries.
offense isn't that great. But the Chiefs' defense, they played well. Really thought that the Giants were going to put some points on them, and they held them to 14 points, so it looked pretty solid.
Yeah. Next up, I have Mike White at quarterback.
Number one quarterback in the league,
Number one quarterback in the league as of
Mike White,
week 8. Mike White,
in the Hall of Fame already.
as a Jet fan, he's already in the Hall of Fame. It feels good to see that. He's already in the Hall of Fame. with his
Jersey's
jersey
already
being
in
displayed. We'll
Next to Travis Kelce.
We'll show that right here. My
Yeah.
two favorite guys at this point. I feel
Yeah.
like 405 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions on tipped balls.
Yeah.
So he really shouldn't have 2. I don't know what would happen if it wasn't there. I feel like he'd just be throwing for 600
Mhm.
and a couple touchdowns.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like he was just generally really great. He's a backup quarterback. Jets backup quarterbacks, honestly. We'll give them answering the call.
I think this is the week and a half of backup quarterbacks. Another player who answered the call for this week, backup quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, Cooper Rush.
Oh yeah.
Played really good football.
Playing against Minnesota.
Yeah,
It's good
Minnesota Vikings defense, which is pretty solid this year. Not great, but not bad. He put up some good numbers, and he was a game manager. He got it done. Him and CeeDee Lamb had a really good game. And then he also had his other receiver, Wilson. number one. He had a great game. Long 73-yard touchdown to really put them ahead in that game. He looked really solid.
And then we're going to be jumping into Green Bay defense now to wrap up. Green Bay defense had an astonishing game against the number 1 ranked team in the league. Obviously, they were undefeated. They
looked
held
really
Kyler
good.
Murray to 12 points fantasy and just amazing stats for Green Bay. And they ended up sealing the game on an interception that could have been potentially game-winning touchdown, game-winning pick.
Yeah, I know.
Great
way to end that game.
Green Bay defense, especially for a defense that isn't normally as shut down as they were in that game.
Yeah, no, especially going against Kyler Murray.
With all the weapons
Hopkins,
he has.
James Conner, Chase Edmonds. They looked really good on defense. And they were short on corners anyway. And they had the corner who was on Arizona not even 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, and he sealed the game. Yeah,
he did. And that was a phenomenal game. If you guys didn't catch that game, that might be one of the best games of the season.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that just about wraps up part 1 of Sidelined with Jonny and Noah for this week.
Yep.
I am Noah.
And I am Jonny. And thank you for tuning in to this episode of part 1. Part 2 will be linked in the description down below or in a card, so you guys can click right to that video. It's great having you guys on this week's episode. Stay tuned for part 2. What else do we have?
Well, in part 2, we're going to be ranking our top O linemen, and we're going to be giving you guys our game plan, basically.
Yeah, game of the week.
All that stuff.
Yeah, some good stuff, so definitely stay tuned. Don't forget to follow the Twitter right here, WCT 2021, as well as League of Beasts 21. And can't forget to follow TikTok, which are posting almost daily content on there.
At Talk 21.
Plug right here. And that's really it. That's all we have for this episode. We'll see you guys in part 2.
See you in the next one. Peace.